Let me introduce you to your core. Ever find yourself being a little more aggressive, a little more silent than the Sigmas? Everyone talks about the Sigma grind, but what if I told you there's a level beyond it? Today we're not just building muscle, we're awakening something inside you. This is the Zeta core, and once you ignite it, there's no going back. Chapter 1. Keep your inner beast alive. Society wants to castrate your wild side. They package it as growing up, but what they really want is to turn you into another domesticated sheep who follows orders and never asks why. You need to kill the boy to be a man. That's the biggest lie they've ever sold. That maturity means murdering your raw energy, your borderline psychopathy, your untamed hunger for more. They want you neutered because wild men are unpredictable, and unpredictable men are dangerous to their system. Search, be a man, and watch the programming unfold. They don't want to give you real power, they want to sell you their version of acceptable masculinity. Alpha, this, Sigma, that, all buzzwords designed to make you chase their approval instead of your own evolution. Jung saw this coming. He knew that civilization's greatest trick was convincing men to abandon their primal instincts instead of refining them. The boy in you isn't your enemy, he's your rocket fuel. That raw, almost uncontrolled energy? That's your edge. Zetas understand this instinctively. They don't suppress the beast, they merge it with wisdom. They take that borderline psychopathic drive and fuse it with strategic thinking. They become dangerous not because they're reckless, but because they're calculated savages. Your youthful aggression isn't something to outgrow, it's something to upgrade. Don't become a domesticated man in a suit, become a predator who learned to wear clothing. The world has enough tame men, it needs more refined beasts. Keep the hunger, sharpen the claws, just learn when to use them. Chapter 2. Never apologize for your nature. You feel it, don't you? That weight pressing down when you think you've been too cold, too distant, too real for someone's comfort. Here's the thing about regret. It's a poison that eats away at your core while pretending to be medicine. You made that choice. You acted based on what you knew then with the resources you had in the situation you faced. The Zeta doesn't apologize for living. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we suffer more in imagination than reality, but there's something deeper here. When you start apologizing for your nature, for being sharp when sharpness was needed, for being cold when warmth would have been weakness, you're not being noble, you're being weak. Think about that moment when someone demanded your warmth and you gave them ice instead. What did they do to earn that coldness? Zetas don't distribute energy randomly. Your coldness wasn't cruelty, it was precision. It was your instinct protecting something valuable, your time, your peace, your purpose. The modern world sells you this lie that non-apologetic behavior makes you distant and low value. But here's what they won't tell you. Apologizing for who you are is the fastest way to become irrelevant. Every time you say sorry for being yourself, you teach others that your authentic self isn't worth respecting. Zetas understand this instinctively. They don't escape reality, they sharpen their edge inside it. Your nature isn't a bug, it's a feature. Chapter 3. Embrace your inner devil. You know that feeling when someone calls you selfish, cold, or ruthless? That sting you feel isn't shame, it's recognition. You're meeting your shadow and it's time to shake hands. Here's what they don't teach you in those feel-good seminars. Everyone is the villain in someone else's story. The mother protecting her child is the devil to the predator. The boss who fires dead weight is evil to the lazy. The friend who tells hard truths becomes the enemy to those living in delusion. Nietzsche understood this when he wrote about the will to power. He saw that trying to please everyone is the fastest way to become nothing to anyone. The moment you accept that you can't make everyone happy, you free yourself to make the right people ecstatic. Zetas don't run from this reality, they weaponize it. They understand that being someone's devil isn't a bug, it's proof you're doing something that matters. When you stop people from using you, you become their devil. When you choose excellence over mediocrity, you become the average person's nightmare. Think about it. Every boundary you set disappoints someone who was counting on your weakness. Every standard you maintain frustrates someone who wanted you to lower it. Your growth is their discomfort, and that's not your problem to solve. The devil isn't evil, he's just selective. And Zetas? They've learned to be selective about everything. Their energy, their time, their compassion, even their kindness. They don't spread themselves thin trying to be everyone's angel. Chapter 4. Keep the blade sharp. Do you still want to punish the part of you that laughs too loud, breaks a rule, jumps first and asks questions later? He buries the wild inside, he reads maturity as quiet surrender, he trades spark for a safe, beige life, that is surrender disguised as wisdom. Studies on adolescent brain development by Lawrence Steinberg, 2008, show risk and novelty drive growth, not just chaos. They tune exploratory circuits that later fuel creativity and boldness. He misunderstands that and kills the boy, thinking power comes from dead calm. Instead he castrates potential. You keep the rawness, you do not let it run you, you temper it. Think of youth as unshaped steel, heat it, bend it, hammer it into a weapon that serves purpose. Merge reckless energy with a timing discipline, patience with sharp action. Nietzsche taught will to power is transformation, not mere domination. Marcus Aurelius advised steady use of inner force, not its purge. Train small violent experiments, controlled and contained, so instinct learns etiquette without dying. Not literally off course. Reframe impulsivity as data, not shame. Extract the parts that push you forward, discard the self-sabotage. Do not kill the boy, reforge him, give him a task, then watch the edge the world feared become the tool you steward. Just a quick reminder. Please check the subscription status down below. Thanks for joining our community. Chapter 5. No. How many times today did someone ask for your time, energy, or attention? Now ask yourself, how many of those requests actually mattered? 80% of what comes your way is noise. Pure, meaningless noise disguised as opportunity, urgency, or friendship. Most people can't tell the difference between what's important and what's just loud. But you can, and that's what separates you from the crowd. Seneca discovered this truth in his letters. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to something that could change your life. When you say yes to everything, you become available to everyone and valuable to no one. Your attention becomes a public property instead of a commodity. Zetas understand this instinctively. They don't feel guilty about disappointing people who never considered disappointing them. They recognize that saying no isn't rejection, it's selection. You're not being mean, you're being precise with your most finite resource. Here's the brutal truth. The people who get angry when you say no are usually the ones who contribute least to your growth. They want your energy because they can't generate their own. They want your time because they've wasted theirs. That friend who calls only when they need something? That project that sounds urgent but adds nothing to your mission? That social gathering that drains your soul? Zetas cut these without hesitation. For them, the problem isn't saying no, it's remembering why they said yes in the first place. Chapter 6. Master your rage. Feel that molten steel building in your veins when someone crosses the line? That's not your weakness speaking, that's your power recognizing a threat. Listen up. Anger is the rawest form of energy you possess. Most people are cowards with their rage. They either bury it like scared children or spray it everywhere like broken fire hydrants. Both ways waste the weapon. Zetas? They forge their anger into precision instruments. Sun Tzu knew this game. The deadliest warrior isn't the one screaming on the battlefield. It's the one calculating every move while his enemies lose their minds. Sometimes a cold stare demolishes more than 1,000 words. Sometimes silence is the cruelest cut. Here's the science. Your prefrontal cortex can hijack your amygdala's rage response in 6 seconds flat. 6 seconds between fury and destruction. Most people waste those seconds. Zetas use them like a sniper uses his breath. Steady, controlled, lethal. You've witnessed it. The fool who explodes becomes entertainment. The screamer becomes a meme. But the man who gets disrespected and just smiles? That man becomes a legend. He's weaponized his rage into surgical precision. Your anger isn't your enemy, it's your guardian angel with brass knuckles. But like any weapon, it demands respect. Zetas don't kill their rage, they sharpen it until it cuts through steel. They don't suppress the fire, they aim it like a flamethrower. For Zetas, uncontrolled anger is weakness. Controlled rage? That's evolution. Chapter 7. Weaponize your emotions. What are emotions if not just some little hormones? You think showing emotion makes you weak? Wrong. Showing uncontrolled emotion makes you weak. Controlled emotion? That's how you bend reality to your will. Eyes are loaded weapons most people don't know how to fire. When you're genuinely happy, let it burn through your gaze like sunlight. When you're angry, let it freeze through your stare like winter. Most people leak emotions everywhere. Zetas channel them with surgical precision. Machiavelli understood this game centuries ago. The prince who controls his emotional display controls his kingdom. But here's what he didn't write. Emotions can be generated. Fake ones get real in no time. That calculated laugh that disarms your enemy? That strategic anger that establishes boundaries? Tools in your arsenal. Research from Paul Ekman's facial coding studies revealed that microexpressions leak your true state in milliseconds. But here's the twist. When you master those microexpressions, you don't just hide your emotions. You broadcast exactly what serves your purpose. Watch a master negotiator work. His smile never reaches his eyes when he's closing a deal. His concern looks genuine when he's manipulating sympathy. This isn't mere sociopathy. This is emotional intelligence weaponized. Zetas don't suppress their feelings, they orchestrate them. They don't hide their emotions, they curate them. When they show happiness, it's because happiness serves their goal. When they display anger, it's because anger gets results. Your emotions aren't passengers, they're your crew. And every good captain knows when to deploy each member of his team. Chapter 8. The Art of Action. You know that paralysis that hits when you're overthinking every angle? That's not wisdom. That's fear disguised as strategy. And fear is the enemy of greatness. Good decisions are made with incomplete information. Perfect information doesn't exist. It's a myth sold to people who are terrified of being wrong. While you're waiting for certainty, your competition is already 3 moves ahead, learning from their mistakes instead of avoiding them. Marcus Aurelius knew this truth. He wrote that the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. But here's the deeper cut. The best strategy is not to be like the paralyzed masses who calculate themselves into irrelevance. Analysis paralysis is just procrastination wearing a tuxedo. Studies in behavioral economics by Kahneman and Tversky showed that humans systematically overestimate risks and underestimate their ability to adapt. Most people don't fail because they make bad decisions. They fail because they make no decisions at all. Zetas operate differently. They gather intel, process it fast, then strike. They understand that timing beats perfection every single time. A mediocre plan executed immediately demolishes a perfect plan executed too late. Here's the brutal math. Every day you spend overthinking is a day someone else spends outdoing. Patience without timed action isn't wisdom, it's just expensive hesitation. The window closes whether you're ready or not. Calculate fast, act faster, adjust as you go. Chapter 9. Beyond Confidence. Confidence is borrowed energy, certainty is own power. Confident people hope they can handle what's coming. Certain people know they're ready for whatever hell breaks loose. One is performance, the other is preparation meeting opportunity. Seneca understood this distinction when he wrote about preparing for fortune's blows. But here's what separates philosophy from reality. Certainty isn't built in your head, it's forged through deliberate preparation. You don't think your way into certainty, you work your way into it. Research from Stanford Psychology Department found that people who prepare for specific scenarios show 70% less anxiety when those scenarios occur. Look around you. Confident people crumble when reality hits different than expected. But certain people? They adapt, overcome, and often thrive in chaos. They've already lived through the worst-case scenarios in their preparation. Reality becomes just another Tuesday. Certainty isn't arrogance, it's readiness weaponized. It's knowing that whatever comes, you've already built the tools to handle it. Zetas don't hope for the best, they prepare for the worst and expect to dominate regardless. Stop performing confidence. Start building certainty. Whatever comes, you'll be ready. Not because you believe it, because you've made it true. Chapter 10. Decide like a knife, not a question mark. Do you sit on a decision until the moment you needed it has already left the room? Choices pile up like unread messages, and he scrolls them hoping clarity will arrive. He stalls until life chooses for him, and then he blames fate. Studies on choice overload by Sheena Iyengar and Mark Lepper, 2000, show too many options paralyze action, while studies on bounded rationality by Herbert Simon, 1956, argue the mind satisfiers because perfect information is a myth. Indecision is not humility, it's permission theft. It hands your future to the loudest circumstance. You are the metric, calculate then move. Zetas cut through the fog by setting rules, time boxes, and exit conditions. Do a tight risk audit, name the worst plausible outcome, then ask, can I survive and adapt? If yes, decide. If not, mitigate fast and decide. Sun Tzu taught preparation before engagement. Marcus Aurelius favored purposeful action over passive worry. Blend the two, and your moves stop being noisy and start being surgical. Practical moves, not pep talk. Set a decision clock, limit options to 3, use small experiments to test without burning currency, and log outcome not guilt. When the world waits, you don't. You pick, you act, you refine. Decide with imperfect data, then sharpen as you go. Certainty comes to those who move, not those who wait. Thanks for watching.